Hello, Scott Golden here with the World Class Championship Wrestling Review Series. We are on the 21st of the month of February in 1987, and 87 is the year where things certainly start to go downhill for the World Class brand. Just newer talent that it would I wouldn't say would never belong, but certainly would have their issues belonging in earlier forms of world class. A lot of younger talent, a lot of people with lesser experience, and the like. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but for an organization with the penetration of world class, you would think that there would be some more talent coming in. But at this time, too, you're dealing with the World Wrestling Federation taking over. You're dealing with the NWA tying people up with contracts for less than, a year and a half away from the Ted Turner buyout. So things are changing in the wrestling world, and it's easy to see. Scott Casey and Roberto Soto versus the Rock and Roll RPMs of Mike Davis and Tommy Lane. And then we kind of go and we see a double tie-up there. Ultimately, the team of Soto and Casey is kind of an odd team. Big hip toss by Casey and a massive drop kick. They just seem odd. It seems like a throw together to have extra guys in the tag division, if you're completely honest. Needless to say, they do work well enough together and seem to kind of have some tag team type maneuvers. The Rock and Roll RPMs do make some good tags early. A double underhook suplex by Casey leads in a positive direction, and then we see a abdominal stretch and down into a reverse chinlock, and then we kind of see an Irish whip and a reversal shoulder tackle out by what I believe is Davis. I'm not used to seeing Mike Davis in this particular role. I'm more used to his global look, and that's much different. Anyway, RPMs take over on Scott Casey for a few minutes, and they actually hit almost what looks like the old heart attack move, and they get the victory. So Rock and Roll RPMs are victorious. Then we go to highlights of Gary Hart and David Manning from a local house show area, and before that, Hart is dissatisfied with the fact that, in fact, he is being forced to look at the footage because Bruiser Brody intercedes. Actually, Gary Hart is more muscular than I would think. I had not seen him wrestle before because there isn't a lot of footage of Gary Hart wrestling available, but he's more muscular than I thought. We open with him having Manning on the ground. Manning, obviously a referee, so not particularly the most aggressive guy. Hart does use a microphone and some rather underhanded tactics. Hart then hits a clothesline, but he will use whatever assets he can to gain a victory. But the help of Bruiser Brody, a.k.a. Red River Jack, causes David Manning to get a victory. And post that match, Hart comes out and says, "Why don't we do a street fight? Promise me that Red River Jack won't be in the building," etc. and so forth. So I assume somewhere down the road there will be a rematch between those two individuals. Then we see Bob Bradley, the man later known as Battle Cat in the World Wrestling Federation, against Tony Atlas. Atlas is a guy I still, and I've said this before in other episodes, but I still don't understand why more wasn't put into Tony Atlas here in 1987. Less than 2 years off WWF TV. He easily could have been a guy to carry the promotion, even short term, but maybe his personal issues with substances were getting to him even here. But needless to say, Tony Atlas still looks like $1,000,000. He is not thickened up like he is in the, let's say, 92, 93 WCW run. Bob Bradley, easy for me to say, manages to use his bumping shoes and put his bumping shoes on. Then we see a head scissors takeover from Tony Atlas. Tony barely jumps that high, so probably not a move he adds to his regular arsenal. Not that Tony Atlas wasn't athletic, but by 10 years in, 11 years in, whatever he was at this point, probably not a guy who should be doing head scissors takeovers. Anyway, Atlas does not move on a shoulder tackle, does get a leapfrog off, and a second one, believe it or not. And then, again, the sidestep and the toss, hip toss, that is. Atlas, is a guy who not known for his immense running deal there. And so we kind of get a push off there. And so we do see Bradley take over a little bit, but again, power by Atlas, tossing him around, press slams and the like. And Tony Atlas certainly not quite understanding why he's in matches with enhancement level talent on television at this point in his career, but it's here. Anyway, Killer Tim Brooks versus Mike Von Erich is up next. Talk about a mismatch of styles and a match that really probably could have been better used elsewhere. Mike Von Erich and a tanning booth are not fast friends. This is easy to see. Also, we move forward and try to see Mike outpowering good old Killer Brooks. This does not work out very well. Brooks with kind of a shin crusher and goes to work on the leg of Von Erich and stays on the leg for a few minutes here. Obviously works him over, trying to get some time out of the match. Nothing wrong with Killer Tim Brooks, but him having to sell for Mike Von Erich, at least to me, seems goofy. Von Erich is always better with smaller guys. Back elbow by Von Erich, and he hooks a sleeper. Sleeper does not go quite the way he plans. He manages to hit a few knees and then makes the sign for the claw. Obviously, Brooks tries to block the claw. Who wouldn't? The claw is a Vulcan death grip. And then we see a hard shot, and actually a series of them, from Mike Von Erich. And ultimately, the Irish whip ducks the clothesline, and a second one, and a leapfrog that poor Mike barely gets over before using the claw to get the victory here. Then we move to Al Madrill and Brian Diaz versus, I believe it's Jeff Raz and Steve Simpson. I just don't remember Raz's first name. Typical tag team match, as is to be expected. Don't remember. Obviously, Madrill and Adias are the tag team champions. Not much emphasis put on Gary Hart during this match, although maybe he's not as prevalent because he was in a match earlier. Not really sure what the deal is there. Simpson with a series of hip tosses and kind of breaking things down on Brian and Diaz. Then Madrill comes in for a little bit. Doesn't exactly get all that he wants out of things. He tags in. He's obviously got the experience advantage. Madrill, a guy who was here during the beginning of the run. It's odd because Simpson takes the first several minutes of the match and does very basic stuff. Then we see Rods come in, and he gets the heels riled up. He is almost taken out with a clothesline. Vicious clothesline by Madrill. At least it looked like it. So it was either a really good sell job or something. But anyway, Rods winds himself up in the wrong corner for several minutes. Tag off to Steve Simpson. Simpson comes back with a monkey flip and a drop kick on Madrill and takes Adias out at the same time and manages to go to town. Steve Simpson, a guy who I don't know if the Ultimate Warrior hadn't been there, I really think Steve Simpson would have gone further, but he paled in comparison, obviously, to the Warrior. Meanwhile, the Russian leg sweep on rods gets the victory for Madrill and Adias, and then we move into a main event promo from Mike Von Erich. He says he can't wait to get in the ring with Brian Adias, says he's always wanted to do that, and it's a really awkward promo. Mike's still not mentally recovered. I don't know that he ever does completely mentally recover from the 107-degree fever. But that closes the 21st of February edition of World Class here. We'll be back with more right after this.